Yeah, we're going to do number 2, and if we have time, we'll do another one. So in this case, we have your heart beating. Your blood pressure is going to increase and decrease as the heart rests between beats. The certain person's blood pressure is modeled by this function. It's a sine wave. Now remember, a sine wave is going to start in the middle. One period later, whatever that period is, it's going to be back starting a new wave. Halfway, we're going to be back in the middle. Halfway between these first two, you're at the max. Halfway between the second two center lines, you're at the min. So a full sine wave is drawn like that. So we have to figure out the max, the middle, and the period. And it says P of t is the pressure, and this should be P of t. That's the pressure in millimeters of mercury, and t is measured in minutes. So this is measuring your pressure as a function of the time in minutes. So the first question says, find the amplitude and the period of the function. Well, it's the same as all of the other ones we've done. The A is this number here, that's the amplitude. So the amplitude is 25. And the amplitude is actually measuring the difference in the pressure. So that's the pressure above the middle pressure and the pressure below the middle pressure that this heart rate is going to cause for your blood pressure. And then the period. Well, we know that period is equal to 2 pi over b. And in this case, b is 160 pi. The t is the only thing you don't take. So the period is 2 pi over 160 pi, and the pi's cancel and you get 1 over 80. So 1/80th of a minute, so a little bit less than a second, is the period of this person's heartbeat, of this person's blood pressure. Sketch the graph. Okay, so in order to sketch the graph, we need to know A, which is 25, B, which is 160 pi, which allows us to calculate period as 1 over 80, C, which is 0, so there's no phase shift on this sine wave, and D, which is 115. So again, I'm going to pick 115 to be my center line, and then I need to go up 25 and down 25, so I'm going to go by 5. So 120, 125, 130, 135, 140. That's a difference of 25, right? Because if we were to calculate it out algebraically, D plus A is going to be the max. So we're going to say 115 plus 25, that's going to give me my max of 140. And D minus A is going to be my min, so 115 minus 25, and that's going to give me 90 to be my min. So 110, 90. So what we're going to do is we're going to draw a sine wave. We need to know our period. Well, we know the period is 1 over 80 minutes. And it looks like it should be very hard to graph that because that's a funky fraction, but we can just call 8 boxes to be 1 over 80. Now half of that, 1/2 of 180 is 1/60th, but it really is okay if we don't even label these because it's easy to draw our graphs, and we know that our time axis is in minutes. And when I say it's easy to draw our graphs, as long as we know the period, we can fit this shape into the period. So we know we're going to go up to 140, we know we're going to come down to 90, and we know that we're a sine wave. Sine waves start in the middle, end in the middle, cross in the middle on the equilibrium, the center line. Then they have a max and a min halfway. So we're going to start in the middle. We're going to go over one full period, 1/80th of a minute. We're going to be back in the middle to start a new wave. Halfway between these, we're going to cross. Halfway between the first two, you're going to be at your max value. Halfway between your second two, you're going to be at your min value. We can start a new wave. We're going to go over 1/80th of a second. Same 8 boxes, makes another 1/80th. Cross in the middle. Halfway between these two, you're at your max. Halfway between these two, you're at your min. And you could do it again. Go over 8 boxes for your period. 3 over 80. And you can fit another wave in. Cross in the middle. Halfway top. Halfway bottom. And then you can draw it in. Try to make them smooth. And then it says part C. If a person is exercising, his heart beats faster. That means that the time between beats is going to be smaller. How does this affect the period? If your heart is beating faster, then the period is going to be smaller because you're going to have more beats in a minute. So the amount of minutes per one beat is going to go down. You're going to have a smaller period, and then that would tighten this up, and you would be going beep, 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 beep. You'd have your heartbeat racing faster. Okay?